Isn't it Valentine's Day also?
Yeah, okay. Valentine's Day is a Hallmark holiday.
Just saying.
I'm just saying.
Yes.
In the scope of holidays. Anyway, for whatever reason, we looked at the schedule in the town hall and what we can move it to. Right now, there's a problem with recording secretaries because they're in short supply. So we're going to have to pay a premium if we move it to a different night. The other two nights that you said were available were...
So the dates were Monday, February 19th, Tuesday, February, Monday, 19th.
It is. You can't do it that night.
So it's either Tuesday the 20th or Thursday the 22nd.
So may I offer a thought? Is this, notice I don't wait for an answer. Is this a problem for anyone on the board?
I can't do the 20th. I can't do the 22nd.
Is the 14th good?
The 20th.
It's fine.
Everybody's good with it?
Yeah.
Sure.
I'll make sure I go to church before I come.
Okay, I'll see you there, baby.
It is the Valentine's Day thing that is going to mess us all up, right?
Well,
Keep it short.
all right, if it's good with the board, then don't
Okay.
make it an issue.
So,
I just
It's
didn't
not,
know.
it's not an issue. It's just if it was an issue, it doesn't sound like it is an issue.
Good.
It sounds
Okay.
like, okay. So, here in that,
On July
Yep.
11th,
I wanted to finish the February one first then.
Oh,
So-
okay, I'm
So the
sorry.
February, that's like, I tend to be a little bit, I don't want to use the word here. Okay, so we're all good with February 14th sitting as is, yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Now we're going to go to July?
yes.
Okay.
So the Board of Selectmen has their meeting on July 11th because in the Board of Selectmen meets only one time in the months of July and August, and the first Wednesday in July is actually the holiday, July 4th. So when they set their schedule, they selected the second Wednesday of the month. So we would both have our meeting on July 11th in the same, one of us obviously wouldn't get this room. But the real issue is business typically goes before the Board of Selectmen and then moves on to the Board of Finance. So it would make sense in this situation for us to consider having our meeting on the 18th instead of the 11th, which is the third Wednesday of the month.
Or you could cancel it. Usually a low activity one.
So we could schedule it for the 18th, and if we saw that there was no activity, then we could cancel it. I wouldn't
That's
want to
correct.
cancel it now, almost a year, or 6-7 months ahead of time, because there may be, God knows what, carryover from the budget, between the budget and the re-budget, and God only knows what else. So, barring anything else, does anybody have issue with moving the July 11th meeting date to July 18th? Or should we just make the Board of Selectmen move their date up and tell them tough?
I can support an 18th.
Okay.
That's fine.
Do what? Oh, okay. You haven't been recognized. Who are you? We good with the 18th?
I can't predict that far ahead.
Okay.
So,
So then I think I need a motion to amend our Board of Finance meeting schedule to change the July 11th meeting date to July 18th, 2018.
So moved.
Second. I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? So moved, 5-0. Alrighty then. Old business. We don't have anything left under old business because we've talked about it all up above. So the next agenda item,
Didn't we talk about the status of the audit findings? You were gonna put something on the agenda about that, or?
we did up in the Board of Finance. We skipped over that one, the Director of Finance's agenda.
Okay. What's the status of the audit findings?
We skipped over that.
How come? We just forgot.
Huh?
We just forget, or do we intentionally?
No, we just
Got sidetracked.
Oh,
we got talking about procedural stuff. So could we go back to talk about any audit findings from,
So we had 4. One is the moving on the accounting manual. And so with that, one thing that we have recently done, and it's it was more a function of having a staffing change. The individual that did the accounts payable work went to another department, so we have a new employee doing the accounts payable. So before leaving, the staff member put together a comprehensive manual on the accounts payable function. So it's just one piece of all of the overall functions, but that is one really large improvement that we have there. And this is something that is always ongoing as you make changes, but that is one thing that we did move forward on that. The school lunch comment, that is a Board of Education comment, and I believe at a prior meeting, the new Board of Ed Finance Director did indicate that that comment should go away because we're now doing the school lunch program in-house, and so I think that one will eliminate just because of the changes they're making there. With regards to purchase orders and invoices, we do always continue to talk to the departments on the fact that they need to have purchase orders before they go out and make expenditures, or in emergency situations to get them done like the next day. We do improve there, but some do slip through, and when they do, we speak to the departments that do don't make their purchase orders as they should. I think that once the purchasing policy is approved and disseminated to everyone, that
Give
we
them
should
3
see
days.
we should see that even better improvement there, because there'll be more clarity for everyone. We'll have something more teeth in writing. So I
Yeah,
think
the current policy says as soon as possible or something like that, so we've changed it to 3 days. Within 3 days, they have to.
Yeah. So, and I mean, obviously, like like for water and sewer, water really. If they have a water main break, well, they can't, wait to get a purchase order. That's more of an emergency. They have to take care of it. So, but they're expected, the next day to go in, give the office staff the information so that purchase orders can get taken care of.
There's a provision for that in the procedure,
Right.
though, emergencies.
Yes.
And then the other thing is a new accounting system, and so I need to have some discussions with the Board of Ed on a plan to proceed, because I know the upcoming year with the school projects, that would be having two big things at the same time may be difficult, because with the school projects going on, that's going to take a considerable amount of staff time, to keep those rolling. So we'll need to speak with the Board of Ed to come up with a plan of when it makes more sense for us to look at moving forward on that.
Okay, thank you.
So these findings, is there a formal process for closing them? Or is this just next audit, they're going to ask that you've got some kind of
We
action
follow-
you've taken?
Right, exactly, yeah.
There's no actual action to submit a action closure and have them accept it or something?
No, we just review that when they do subsequent audits.
Okay.
So at some point they'll, in terms of the accounting manual, they would hopefully say, okay, we feel more comfortable now with the policies that you have in place, and finally close it from
And
being
that's
a final.
actually the good part of closing the action items in some kind of format, is they look at it and say, yes, we accept your closure, as opposed to wait until the next audit and say, no, that's not good enough, and it just kind
Right.
of runs into a running gag kind of. But anyway, okay. Any other questions?
Yes. I know I read it somewhere, but maybe you can clarify it. Is there anybody other than department heads who are authorized to write a purchase order?
Typically, it would either be a department head goes in and prepares a rec, and then they get turned into purchase orders once like I review them and there's an authorization that I sign off on electronically, and then they go to the first selectman's office for the final approval and creating the purchase orders.
One other question. I noticed too that there were credit cards available.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's one in the selectman's office, is that correct?
Yes.
Who has use of that?
So if someone wants to use it, they have to come and get permission to use it.
And that's the only, that's the only credit card available?
And then we also have, it's one account, and then we also have Parks and Rec and Commission on Aging. They have like a separate card because of the volume of purchases that they make.
Who reviews the statements?
They come to the finance department, and we are like very strict with regards to the credit cards. If you're going to use that credit card, you need to have a purchase order issued immediately.
Yeah.
We do not want statements coming in and not having purchase orders for all of the items on the statements, because we need to make sure that that gets paid timely, because we do not want any late charges ever.
Right. Okay, thanks.
So we're very diligent on that form. What we were finding with Parks and Rec and Commission on Aging is they were doing so many requests for reimbursement for employees going out and buying things that were needed for various programs, that it just made more sense for the credit cards, and it has. So now we just make one payment to the credit card company as opposed to like various employee reimbursements.
Do you have a reimbursement request form or anything like that?
Expense form, you mean?
Yeah, we do not, no, we do
Okay,
not.
so that's one of the things we talked about putting in the purchasing manual, is just some kind of form that says, here's my receipt, and sign it, and something simple, one-pager kind of thing. But the purchasing policy doesn't have a whole lot of, it talks about the credit card use, but it doesn't have, it sounds like you want to make sure that there's a lot of teeth around how it's used. So maybe we'll want to add some more direction in that part of the manual or the procedure. Okay.
Your plan on the policy is to finish the draft, if I heard you right, and then you're going to issue it to the board for comments?
In 2 weeks from now, I have the action 2 weeks from now to incorporate the changes that we talked about last night. So 2 weeks from now, I'm going to publish it back to the subcommittee members, and they're going to critique my edits. And if the subcommittee is happy with it, then our lawyers are going to do their thing and wordsmith it and make sure that it's all covered, and bring in some state verbiage, probably, if they find some state verbiage they want to do with that. When that's all done, then we're going to call in Anna and department heads so that they can look at it and they can critique it and say if they have issues with it or not. Then we can bring it back to the board for discussion, and then we can present it to the Board of Selectmen for their approval or their critiques. And both boards may have another round of...
Okay, so you are going to present it to the
like
Board of
5
Finance and
steps.
get their comment and incorporate, okay.
Just like I did this time. Yes, sir. Ma'am.
Well, we didn't go through it in detail, I just didn't know
It's
what your
just-
plan was.
Because it's a draft and I didn't want to
Yeah.
bring it into the public record, it's kind of like,
But you will bring it, I mean, I'm just
Yes.
trying to see the plan,
Yes.
that's all.
yes,
Okay.
yes, I'm sensitive to being a draft and becoming public record, and so I don't want to not talk about it, but I don't want to
Okay.
get into specific
All right, understand.
language.
Got it.
Working document.
Yes. Okay. So since we didn't have any public delegation, we don't have any comments about the public delegation, so I would like to entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Should I say 8:30?
So move 5-0.